Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be working in my Ireland album again, and we're talking about something called the Bawn, B-A-W-N. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. I wasn't, but I did learn about it while we were visiting Blarney Castle. The Bawn is essentially a fence or a rock wall, actually, that was built around, built to surround not just the castle, but the outlying dwellings of the people who worked the land, and also portions of the land that was being worked to help sustain the people that lived within the Bawn. It is not there at Blarney Castle anymore, so you can't actually see it, but they do have markers where you can kind of trace where that wall would have been, to get a better idea of the size and shape of how that would have looked. And they have photos, of course, and explanations, or I would not have known anything about it. Anyway, so the pictures that we're going to do today are not of the Bawn, but there is a marker or a photo of the marker that talks about it. And I'm just calling it the Bawn because calling this video the Bawn because it just identifies it apart from the other videos that I've made. Let's check out this, check out my workspace, and we'll get started on this video. This layout does follow the virtual crop challenge for November. I believe it's number 4. And so it's going to be a fun sketch. And the other versions of this crop that I have seen on the virtual Facebook page, the virtual crop Facebook page, have been really cute and varied. So I'm excited to see how mine will turn out. Let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. All right, so this is my workspace for today, and I have pulled some larger pieces of paper, which are going to become some 4-inch strips. And then I went through what was left of the larger scraps from the other pages that I've done in this series. And these are going to become squares. So that's why I have my square punch out. Now, to make the squares for this layout, you can use your 12-inch trimmer, you can use your guillotine trimmer, you can use this punch, you can use anything that's going to give you the straightest, most accurate edge that you can make. So whatever you're most comfortable with is fine. I decided to try to use my punch because when you're using scraps, sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's not easier, but I'm going to give it a go and see if I need to pull out my trimmer, then I've always got that. I've got permanent and repositionable adhesive out. We're going to start by cutting these larger pieces, and I'm going to move the pages out of the way for the moment, and we'll get back to them later. If you have the virtual sketch out in front of you, that's awesome. I would love to be able to show it to you, and maybe my editor can pull it up and he can show it to you. I will definitely have a link to it in the description of this video. But this, for some reason, my printer is not playing nice, and it would not print the virtual crop sketches for me, so I have to just look at them on my computer screen. And I apologize, because normally I do try to have a printout here on the table for you to be able to see and reference while we're putting this together. You need 4 4x12 strips to do this layout, and you actually could do it with 6 4x12 strips, but I'm going to use 4 4x12 strips. and then the natural page for the back of the other two sections. I have these two papers, which are the same, and I'm going to cut them, but I'm going to cut them and use my stripes going vertically rather than horizontally. So this paper is going to become, I'm going to use the dark side of this particular paper. So we're just going to cut this at 4 inches. So we're going to go like this, cut this right in half. That gives me one dark piece and my second dark piece. I'm just verifying that it is 4 inches because I didn't measure it. It looked like it would be an 8-inch piece before I cut it in half, so that's good. And then this one we're going to cut going across the lines, and one of them will be extra, which will go back into my stash. So 4 inches, we're just going to cut 2 and then cut, going to cut twice and save the last one. Okay, so those two are going to go on our layout. This one's going to go over there for be saved for another day. Okay, so we're going to take these, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 8 of one kind and 10 of another, or a nice variety is the way I look at that. And so I'm going to get as much as I can out of these larger pieces. I'm going to try to use kind of the lighter colored pieces, because these are going to, well, we could use the darker ones actually, because these squares will go on the naked page, so I could use this side. That's nice to know, because this would be a nice addition, this plaid. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and punch a variety of squares. I'm going to try hard to keep the lights and the darks as even as possible so that I can kind of place them in even numbers in my groupings. But sorry, this one's a little bit off because of the angle that's cut out of the paper over here. So, wait a second. All right, so there's 4 of that kind, and we'll just set that aside. Maybe I can get a couple out of this lighter patterned paper right here. We can use that too. Oh, maybe just one. But actually, if I cut this, maybe I can hide that bottom edge that has the notch cut out. I could probably hide that behind something so that we can still use it. All right, so these are going to go kind of over here in a pile of things we're not going to use. And let's cut a few from this fun paper. This is from the Ireland theme pack of papers that came out earlier this year before the Olympics. I really like this paper too. I have way more of it. I have probably way more of it than I'll ever use in this album, in these albums that I'm putting together, but that's okay. I don't mind. We may need it and we may not have it ever again, so isn't that the way? Okay, so now I'm going to, I love this. This is from the National Scrapbook Day in 2021. Let's start on this end because that top corner up there is bent a little bit and it doesn't want to play nice in my punch. Just love all the greens and blues in this. Super cool. All right. I also love turning my punch over like this. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you are a person that does that as well, if you turn your punch upside down. I turn my punch upside down so that I can get the most use out of my paper. If I tried to punch like this with my punch this direction, it wouldn't happen. I wouldn't be able to get that close to be able to cut and save paper like that. So flipping my punch over works really nicely. All right, so we've got that. I noticed that the strips from one of the last layouts that we did, these actually work really nicely. They're almost perfectly sized to what we need. So I'm going to use a couple of those because they work. Look at that, they're almost perfect. And how many did we say we needed? I needed 10 of the one and 8 of the other, so that's 18 squares. So I just need to keep punching squares. All right, we're going to go with that for right now. Let's see, these should work also, but just barely, and I have to line them up super careful. So let's see if I can even do it. Because if I don't line them up exactly, because they were exactly 1 3/4 inches across. So if I line them up exactly, then they come out just fine. Have to be really careful though. All right, there's a couple of those. We should do, I like the way this green kind of blends with that other. So let me see how many squares I have first. Let's figure that out. So we've got 4 of those. We've got 4 of those. So that's 8. Hold on. 8. We've got 4 of those, so that's 12. 5 of those, so that's 17. 18, 19, 20. So we've got more than enough right now. All right, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead and just work with what I've got, unless we feel like we need to add color or something. Okay, so those are just gonna go back over there. I don't want to punch too many. Okay. So let's let's work with these squares for a minute. Okay, let's talk about these squares for a minute. So we're going to have 2, ideally I would like to have a balance of the different colors, so that we have the same amount on each side. So 2 of those there, 2 of those there, 2 of those there, 2 of those there. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I need a total of how many on each side? I need 9 on each side. So that's a no-brainer. I guess that works, right? Is that right? 5 and 4, that's 9. So we need 9 on each side. So I'm just going to set these 3 over here. They are going to be our swap outs if we need swap outs. All right, and let's see if we can figure out which ones would be better as base colors. I think the darker colors would be better on the bottom. All right, so what if we started with something like that? We're going to have 4 on the bottom row and 5 on the top. So I'm going to do perhaps more of a solid. More solids on the bottom and prints on the top. Maybe. Now, the question I would ask myself is, do I want the words to be going different directions? I don't know. I don't recall that anyone's ever said to me whether that matters or not, whether the words are going in different directions. And just to avoid answering that, I'm just going to go ahead and start building the other one, and then we'll figure it out. How's that for denial? Okay, let's see. We're going to do like that. We're going to do like this. So this is going to be just slightly different, but a little bit flipped from the other. We'll put this guy over here. What am I thinking? This guy here. Something like that. I think it's going to bug me that the words are going 2 different ways. So that's easy enough to fix. We'll just turn the ones that are going one of the ways, and we will make them all go the same. Better. Okay, so then we need to get these attached. Now, trying to figure out how best to teach you or to give you an idea of how to do this easily. That's the question, right? So I'm going to try this. If we take this piece, which is a base piece, and I'm just going to put a little adhesive on it just to keep it in the right place for me. I'm going to center it on my grid so that I have an even amount all the way around. Okay, then I'm going to put some adhesive in the corner, and I'm going to lay this so that the straight edges of my square are right on those grid lines. Stick it down. Same thing here. Straight edges of my square are right on the grid lines. Okay, so that will do that third. Then we'll do this third over here. Going to place that again right as centered as possible on my grid. Then I can add my adhesive to that corner and line it right up. Quick and easy. Painless, as I like to say. It's painless. Except when I move it at the last minute. Okay, there we go. There's that one. Get that section, and we'll do this section. Now this one's going to be a little bit different because so actually this one's going to be, this is the bottom row one. This is the top row one. So this is going to go line up with my grid lines. Okay. Then this piece is going to, I'm going to set this over here. And we're going to line up this second section with this one. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Now, this is going to be our top piece. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to this section first and line it up. Then we'll take this off. I've already got adhesive on the back of that other side, and go ahead and line it up with this section. All right, now that section is done. So I think that went together pretty smoothly. I think I'm going to do that again. So we'll do like so. We'll line this one up with the parallel lines on the grid. Parallel lines with the crossing lines. This line and this line on the grid. It's easy to do the ones that don't have the words. Now I'm anxious about the ones that have the words. Whether I'm doing them right. All right, so we're going to just bring these two down. All right. So that's that end, and then we have these three in the middle. So we're going to do this side first again. And adhere it to this side. Okay, then we're going to do this side. And adhere it to this side. Like so. Okay. Oh, you know what? I should have gone ahead and put this one on. Because this one needs to go here. Like that. And then we'll put our adhesive on here. I forgot that was a top piece. All right, I lost my way somewhere in the middle of all that. I apologize. But it was going good. Okay, there we go. Now that one is done. Yay. Okay, now let's go ahead and assemble our pages. And then we'll get to the pictures in a minute. So I'm just going to set those square lines off to the side. And I'm going to kind of stack these pictures up for the moment. We'll get back to them in a sec. Okay, so we're going to take these strips that we cut at the beginning, and the dark ones are going to go up here and down here. So let's go ahead and put those on. I'm going to grab my permanent adhesive and go ahead and adhere those down. Okay, now we're going to do this one. Okay, then these two with the stripes are going to go on, and they're going to go in the middle here, right here. So we'll go ahead and get those put on. Just right up against the jeeping in the middle, and all the way across. Like so. Excuse me. Okay, then these are going to go across here. Now, in the sample, it does not show that they go off the edge, but I'm showing you now that when you put point to point on these squares, the edges do go off the edge by like 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, probably 1/8 of an inch on either side. So you can overcome that by overlapping the center points if you want to, or you can trim off the points on the ends. I think I'm more inclined to just trim off the points on the ends than to try to fuss with adjusting those points just enough that you end up with 1/4 of an inch taken up across the board. I think that would absolutely drive me nuts. So I'm not going to worry about it. I may even just leave them there. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. But I don't need to worry about it too much. I'm going to center this from here and here. I'm going to center that so that it's straight. Actually, I need to move it this way just a smidgen so that it's a bit more even. If you are worried about getting yours exactly straight, get your zero centering ruler out and it will help you. Okay, so just stick that down. Most of these under pieces already have a little adhesive on them, so you don't have to put a great amount of adhesive on those pieces. You really only need the adhesive on the other pieces. So it just depends on how much you want to adhere, but the repositionable adhesive is quite good stuff, so you don't need to overdo it. Alright, so we're just going to try to center that on this, in this section as well. Oh, and see, I need to move it over just a little. So that it's more even on the ends. It was pretty even, I think, top to bottom, but it wasn't even on the right to left. And that isn't either, because I went too far the other way. Bear with me, I'm gonna get it. I promise. Momentarily. There we go. Okay, that will work. Stick it down before it moves. Okay, so now we're going to work on some photos that are going to go on this page. So these pictures again are of Blarney Castle. This is the actual entrance where you walk in. and there's a little gift shop right here, but you walk in and around the corner and then you come into the castle on the other side. And this is what you pass just on the other side of this wall is this area right here. This crest, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't remember where this came from, but it did come from Blarney, so we're going to include it on this page with these photos. So I'm just going to crop this and make it just a little smaller because I don't need the whole picture in there. I just want the crest. I'm going to try to make this a 4x4, but I don't know if I can. Yeah, I cannot. So let's make it a 4.5 by 4. And then that one can go kind of like so. Okay. And these other photos that are, excuse me a second while I get my trimmer in the right direction. Okay. Then these photos are going to go roughly like so. And I had originally thought that laying them out like this would be good because then I could use this upper area for a title or for journaling. But you can see with it being that darker paper, journaling doesn't really work unless I add some cardstock or something like that. So I could go back in with one of these pieces, obviously not that one, but go back in with one with some paper and just cut it to fit and add it in there. I would probably choose one of these down here that matches to create a little journal box to go up there in that corner. And that way I would have a place where I could talk about all of these photos. In the sketch, it shows that each of these photos are matted in the sketch, which we could certainly do. We could matte these really quick and probably in some dark green, and that would set them off even better. Let me grab some dark green and we'll do that real quick. All right, so we're gonna just do a quick tutorial as I cut some mats, and we're going to do the magic mat process. And if you've never seen the magic mat process, there is a video on it on my channel under tools and tricks and that kind of thing. But basically, if you want to do magic mats, you add the length and the width of the mats together, and then you start with a square of that dimension. So most of these photos, all of these photos, except that one that I just cropped, are 4x6. So I want to do mats that are going to just be small. I only want about 1/8 of an inch on each side, so that adds 1/4 of an inch to each dimension. I know it's a math problem. Here, I'll write it down to help you see it better. Okay, so I'm starting with pictures that are 4x6. I'm going to add 1/8 of an inch to each side of my 4 inches and each side of my 6 inches. So that's going to equal 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 when it's done. Okay, so when the photo with the mat is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, what I do is I add these two dimensions together and I get 10 1/2 inches. Okay, so when I have 10 1/2 inches worth of real estate that I want to use, I make a 10 1/2 inch square. Knowing that this is a 12-inch square already, that means I take 1.5 inches off of each side. So I'm going to cut 1.5 inches over here. I'm going to turn this paper and I'm going to cut another 1.5 inches off of the other side. Okay, now I have a 10 1/2 inch square. Now I'm going to start up here and I'm going to measure 4 1/4 inches. And each time that I measure this way, I'm going to measure 4 1/4 inches. I'm going to start from the top and I'm going to cut down until I get to 6 1/4 inches here. Now the way that I know when I get to 6 1/4 inches is the edge of this housing will be at 7 1/4 inches because the blade is 1 inch from this edge of the housing. There's a mark on the side, but it's a little bit harder to see when you're trying to see the ruler and papers covering and stuff. So it's easier if you just move this edge of your blade housing 1 inch further than you want your blade to go. So I measured 4 1/4 over here. I'm going to cut to 6 1/4 here. So I'm going to slide my blade to 7 1/4. So I'm going to stop at 7 1/4. Then I'm going to turn my paper. I go counterclockwise. You can go clockwise, you can go counterclockwise, whatever makes you happy as long as you cut it the same every single time. So cutting again down to 7 1/4. There's one mat. Turn it. There's a second mat. Turn it. There's a third mat. And your fourth mat. And you end up with a cute little square at the end. You always end up with a cute little square at the end. But it's a very fast way to get nice, even, perfectly measured mats. Okay. Another way to measure, if you have a piece of paper like this, is to just measure 4 1/2 or 6 1/2 and then measure your different pieces. So I'm going to go, actually I apologize, I meant 6 1/4. So I'm going to measure out to 6 1/4 and go ahead and cut that paper down and then just turn this and cut pieces that are 4 1/4 and I'm good to go. Because I have a few more than 4 mats that I need for this particular one. So there's 6. Let's see if this piece right here will end up working for that one photo that I trimmed. We'll see. All right. Actually, let me grab it really quick, and then that way, while I've got my trimmer out, I can just go ahead and trim it. Aha, that works really good. Okay. So this is a 4-inch photo. So let's just go ahead and trim this at 4 1/4. And then I'm not remembering what I cut this at, but I think it's 4 1/2. Yeah, 4 1/2. So we're going to go 4 3/4 this way. Then the mat will be the same size as all the other photos. Just like that. Okay. So let me go ahead and get all of these photos adhered to their mats, and then we'll get them put onto the layout. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get these put on here. And I should mention also that this particular layout, the way the sketch is denoted, has 3 vertical photos down here on the bottom, and then a title and embellishments above them. But as you guys know, I don't always conform to exactly the way the sketch is written, because often sketches are drawn with the idea that you have certain photos going certain directions, and so it tries to give you ideas of which ways you might want to put your photos on. It's not written in stone though, and I think that's sometimes hard for us to visualize, the fact that you can you can change it. You can make it whatever works for you, whatever works for the photos that you need to crop, or the photos that you need to scrap. Make it work for you. Make it, make the sketch that you want to use work with the photos that you have. There's no crime in that. You do not have to follow the sketch exactly the way that it is put out. It's beautiful when it works out and you can, but it's not required. And I think it's freeing to get that reminder every now and then that, you know, we can make these pages into whatever works for us, whatever makes our scrapbook life easier or more beautiful, or whatever we want to do. Okay, so if you see something that I do and you think to yourself, well, I don't have the pictures going those directions, fix it, change it, do what you want to do with it. In fact, you know what, I think I may just put this one up and put it at a little angle, since this one down here I put it at an angle. I think that might complement nicely, and then I can add a little journal box in right there. So, not that one. I keep going to that one because I really like the colors, but I didn't end up needing or using it. So anyway, I will find a piece that that will work well for that spot, so that I have a place to journal on these pages. Okay, so we should come up with some quick embellishments. Embellishments are kind of getting tough to make unique, because a lot of the embellishments that I have are just the same ones you've seen before, so it's hard to come up with anything different. But we'll try, shall we? Never hurts to try. I think I had some that were running around here loose in the bottom. I did. Oh, that's because these are the St. Patrick's Day ones. Well, we don't need to say Happy St. Patrick's Day. We need something else. One of these would work as a cute little journal box. EB right in there. Oh, there's two there. That works and helps, right? Okay, so journal box is taken care of. Let's see. I don't want to use that on there because the yellow is not. We'll just say happy. Happy, 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 happy. I'm going to use some foam squares, which I've kind of not been using a lot here lately, but I'm going to use some foam squares to pop up this little happy sign or title here. Someone is visiting. You can hear the rap on the door upstairs. Let's go ahead and we'll get this put down. This cute little journal box. Set that right in here. Like that. And then we'll put this slightly above it. And this guy will go slightly above that. And then that will be one of our embellishments. The journal box will act as part of our embellishment cluster. Oop. Okay. Happy treasured moments. Some happy treasured moments. And then let's see what's in here that we can add. I think maybe we'll add something down here, just a little something, maybe a clover, and we'll put this up here, or we could put this down here and add our clover up there to the side, a little bit like so. And we'll do the same down here. And I think that will work for us for this time around. Let me know what you think about that. Always love to hear your comments, questions, advice, suggestions. It's always fun to get everybody's perspective. That's part of our community, how we build our community, right? So let me know, okay? Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that this has given you some inspiration to create for yourself, and a good clue into how to make these nice and even and quick and easy. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.